Jeremy, you mentioned that it took you longer than expected to make the film. It was originally broadcast at Christmas time, but you had to put that back precisely because of that threat that we saw in Delta on the documentary. I mean, how did that
Well, I joined the project later. I mean, Evans originated the project, and I came to the project probably towards the last third of it, or last 40% of it, when the film had been put back because we originally looked at this broadcast date, and I think it just took. Obviously, it's complicated filming over there, and complicated filming when you don't quite know who your contributors are going to be, and you don't quite know what their future path might be. And normally, when you make a film of some sort, you've got some sort of idea about what your hopes might be, what you imagine might happen, and yet, Evans was receiving this material completely, just anonymous tapes turning up. I mean, you don't know what was going to be in those tapes. There could be sort of like shots of trees, or there might be shots of something really interesting happening, or of new contributors you might want to follow. So every sort of box of tapes that arrived was potentially like the whole of the film, or potentially just like nothing of really any great interest other than some sort of kind of scene setting.
There were herd crabs and all.
Yeah, there was a lot of hermit crabs, and a lot of crabs generally. They make quite big hairs, and they all have a bit of a nasty end.
To answer your question briefly about that, in October, it was the 1 year after the 2007 uprising by the monks. You may have all seen if you're interested in Burma, and as a result of that. The annual, it was October, I think it was shortly before Jeremy came on the project, and there was a massive nationwide crackdown when the military was sent out to stop information, anybody recording information, and that our guys came to us and said, we cannot go back, right? And we had Channel 4 saying, how's the film going? All on track for Christmas, and I think we had about 10 tapes.
I think actually that beginning.
Yeah, we had the beginning, and I'm like, that's it, I'm finished, I'm never going to work television again, And the guy said, we really cannot go back, it's too dangerous. We have to, it is the Asian, the old cliche of the bending reed, but it's very true. The military really cracked down, they needed to retreat and just go quiet. We had to, as a European broadcaster, understand that. And I've got to say, we went to Channel 4 and said, look, here's the situation, we're not going to make delivery date at Christmas. We cannot do this. And they said, fine, no problem. It's about safety, don't worry about it, let's delay it and let's make it an anniversary piece. Instantly they were saying, let's not make it any more dangerous. And then within like 2 weeks, 3 weeks even, I think I said, all right guys, so how's it going? They go, oh yeah, we're already back, and I'm like, what do you mean you're already back? There's more tapes in the post, more tapes in the post. I thought it was too dangerous. Oh yeah, no, it's over, it's fine now, so it's out.
It must be an astonishing environment for those cameramen to work in. There's a very good book by an American journalist who goes by the name of Emma Larkin called Finding George Orwell in Burma, and she uses Orwell's notes just to write about Burma as it currently is. And you often see her talking to people that she's never met before, and you can see the moment where they think, I can trust this journalist to tell them what I actually think about what's going on. But there are quite a few occasions when, after she's reached that point, and after she's left the person that she's spoken to, she then thinks, but what if that person was government spy after all? What if they've drawn me in? What if they're going to denounce me to the authorities? I mean, have you any idea of how your cameramen got that sense of trust enough to keep going back to those same people?
Well, I think there's probably a certain innocence to some of the contributors, because they're orphans in a way. So you were dealing with people that were certainly, in a different kind of sphere. And I think, I suppose what the film doesn't say is the important attempts that the journalists made to get back to those characters in a way. So it wasn't that all was easy and that you could sort of, here was your sort of, beautiful array of contributors for your film. It was a real struggle to get to these people, and often they would be turned back, and there would be roadblocks, and it wouldn't be possible to go any further, or there would be those sorts of problems made it very real in a way. And so I don't think there was any sort of suggestion that. We were talking about this earlier. In a way, that's what I thought was interesting, looking at this material in a way that maybe if you're just seeing the film for the first time this evening, that there's a kind of freshness to the people in the film, the orphans. There's not a kind of jaded quality that you sometimes get if you're interviewing people from sort of traditional kind of current affairs zones, if you like. This is a place where people aren't used to being asked their opinion by somebody with a camera. And so I think that's people in that respect, although there's obviously reticence about talking to people with a camera, once they got over that, and once there was a sense of confidence, people just want to be honest, and actually the mundane, the everyday, and the kind of life of the village becomes the story in itself. And I think in the rushes that we got, we could have made many different films. Actually, there was a huge amount of raw material to make many different films. I would have had a treat.
Am I right in thinking there were 180 tapes?
Yeah, so you're very well informed. Yeah. That's right. There were about 180 tapes, yeah, which is, how many would there normally be?
Probably would have been about
60 or
40,
80.
yeah.
I'd just like to add one thing about that point, because in the Orwellian context, if I can put it that way, the little I know about that, as you know, but Burma is an incredible, I don't know if anybody's been there, but I mean, Burma, it is an incredibly oppressive place, and yet what came through, and what I actually find even moving tonight, is this amazing human spirit that will not be defeated, actually. And I remember the woman in pink who says, are they going to come and tear down our house? And he's like, yeah, come on, then do it. I've had enough. There was this resistance, and even young kids who are like, yeah, look, we're just going to get on and cook rice.
Yeah, there's no self-pity, isn't there? There's really resilient.
Yeah, there's an amazing resilience there, which I think even in this environment, even though they were just dealing with everyday things, and also the fact that the villagers themselves wanted their story to get out through the cameraman we had sent, which is really important. That's why they were able to operate safely. If they were doing anything that people didn't want, it wouldn't have happened. But these people had never, as Jeremy said, nobody ever gone to them and said, well, how do you feel? And yet they're like, we had to be very clear, this is going to be for international broadcast. Are you guys happy with that? And who isn't? And they were all, vehemently committed to trying to tell the world, look, this is what we're dealing with, help us.
Any chance of a question from the floor?
I was going to ask a couple more now. You're very happy to come back to you. I was going to ask you, so much of that film is just, as the children just telling it straight, as you say, which I think makes it more powerful. Is that how you envisaged the film from the start, or did it sort of change as you got material in?
I would call that was, that was certainly.
Yeah, the idea originally was Orphans, to tell it through Orphans, and it can be a bit of a TV device at the moment to actually find a vehicle like that to tell a story which presses all the emotional buttons. I mean, let's be honest, that's often what commissioning editors are going to try and ask you to do. However, in this case, I mean, I agree, I totally support it, because it was actually, it was real, and we wanted to try and show not just people surviving a natural disaster, but also what it meant for people in a government like that. And that was a good vehicle, a good way to do that. And then what we found was the children themselves weren't obviously expressive really enough. And also the horrible constraints that the cameramen were working in to film their daily lives meant you needed to put them in context. So we broadened it to adults around them. And that's why you started to see, we did say, talk to adults around them to reflect on what the children are going through. And that's when we found those great characters, who informed us about what else was going on.
Sure. Like, I mean, in terms of the boy monk, the sort of senior monk who's looking after him, you give a little flavour of him, and Silvermoose farmers, and also the two young women who were looking after the family of three orphans, who were also orphans themselves, probably in their late teens, early 20s. So you're right, when they sort of, and that's the context that they're living in.